Welcome to e-learning with Rosa Media Productions.
Oh, Google Docs. Google Docs has been an absolutely wonderful thing that Mr. Rosa has taught us.
Technology integration is only effective with adequate professional development.
I'm Cliff Rosa, teacher turned video entrepreneur, where I approach using video for your school or your business, speaking from the heart of a teacher. Hi there, my name's Cliff Rosa. Welcome to the Rosa Media Productions webcast. I'm in the business of helping you grow your online presence with video. And today's topic that we're going to talk about is actually audio. It's actually microphones. I've been asked, okay, so Cliff, what kind of microphone are you using on your webcast? And I've actually used a couple of different microphones on the webcast. I prefer the lavalier mic for most of my video work. And I've got two on right now. I'm actually going to do a whole show that's just a trial, basically mic trials. I've got 6 different mic sounds that you can check out and kind of let you hear the differences and also point out some of the things that you want to be looking for in microphone sound. Now my setup for my webcast is pretty minimalist. I set it up on purpose that way. It's partly a proof of concept because I'm not really huge about getting in front of the camera, but a lot of folks, you need to get in front of the camera if you want to build credibility, audience. So that's why I set up the webcast. Now, microphone-wise, what I'm actually using, and I use most on pretty much all of my webcast episodes, is an Audio-Technica Pro 70. Okay, it's about a $100 microphone, and that's what I'm using right now. Now, let me switch over to my presentation before I get too much farther, because I don't really want to forget these points. If you don't have good sound, you don't have a good video. So let's talk about mics in relation to that. Some considerations. Probably the most basic one is just volume. How many of us have actually seen a video where you could barely hear what the person was saying? Well, we haven't seen much of that video because we generally turn it off. We switch to another one. That's what YouTube has done for us. We don't spend time on videos that are not giving us the value we want. Sound quality is the next consideration. Does it sound nice, or does it sound is there a lot of background sound? Does it have static, things like that? Ambient noise. Does it do a good job of blocking out ambient noise? Does it have a good focus on just the person that's speaking? And then the next question, of course, is cost. For me and a lot of solopreneurs, getting going with our businesses, we are cost conscious, and of course we want to be dollar wise and don't be penny wise and dollar foolish or pound foolish. You basically want to spend your money on what's important. So without further ado, this is the first microphone. It's actually the one I've been using this whole episode so far, and it's a lavalier mic. It's Audio-Technica Pro 70. It's wired. It's got an XLR connector into my mixer, and I think it sounds pretty good. It's certainly not the very best mic that you could buy, but it gives a good sound quality. I'm also built in, I'm going to turn on a little fan right now, give you an idea of how it does with ambient noise. Okay, so I've got that fan running in the background now, and I'm talking at pretty much the same level, and you can hear it doesn't sound wonderful having that background noise. I'm going to turn that back off. Pause this for a second. Unfortunately, in my garage studio, I actually end up having a lot of background noise at different times. There's an airplane flying over right now, Anyway, depending on your situation, the ambient noise question may or may not be such a big deal. But you can notice I have my headphones on. Always do that for a sound check. The Wirecast setup also, there's the sound bars. That's talking about your level of your sound, and you always need to pay attention to that. But right now, I'm actually going to switch mics now. Turn this mic off, turn this mic on. Okay, now let me do a little sound check here. Testing, 1, 2, okay. Now this is actually, oh, there's my neighbor, thank you. Now this is actually my Sennheiser. Oh, that's a little bit loud. Okay, Sennheiser, yeah. This is my Sennheiser wireless setup here, okay. Let me get back to my presentation. Now, I use the Sennheiser EW 100 series. Cost about $630 to get one of these. I actually have a dual set. Costs a little more. You've got choices for XLR or phone. Again, it's wireless. You can hear it sounds pretty decent. Let's hear it with the fan. So we've got some ambient noise there. Because it's a lavalier mic, it's very close to my mouth. It's still, you can hear it clearly, but unfortunately, you can hear the background noise. And with what I found with most lavalier mics is that's just part of the game. Let me turn that back off. AKG Presenter 45 is actually $250. I'm turning the volume up on the level up on the on that AKG, because I could just starting to get in the spot where I think that's an acceptable volume level. Let me do an ambient sound check here with the AKG. Okay. Let me see. Switch that. This is the AKG. And there we go. Interesting. Did anybody notice that little sound? See, when I actually tested this AKG, I tried to walk it around the house, and it ended up being where I walked. It had different kinds of staticky. It would kind of come in stronger, weaker. You know what? I've got to just change. Sorry. Disappointed that the $250 didn't actually give more bang for our buck, but you know, there's just a pretty high bar to get over with the wireless sound in regard to microphone technology. Now, let's go on to this little mic here. Now, my next mic I'm going to do is the Blue Yeti. Now, let's just switch over. Alright, so okay, I'm on my Blue Yeti here. Notice I've got my headphones on. Okay, this is a desktop mic. It's actually it's really designed more for podcasting and that kind of. I've got to take these off. It's very weird listening to yourself. You put those on for sound check, take them off for the actual presentation, at least in the way I do things. Here's the thing. This mic is great. We use it for voiceovers, things like that. It's more designed for the podcasting space. I don't care for the look on video, okay? Really, for optimum positioning, it needs to be pretty much in front of my mouth, and so you can see if I'm down here in front of it, whereas it really sounds the best. You know, I would really have to have it up here on a little stacking in front of my face. I just don't care for that. Okay, you know what? this episode is not about the looks, it's about the sound. So let's go and back to the presentation. And let's get that ambient noise. There's our fan in the background. So you can judge for yourself how badly that affects our sound quality. This is how the Blue Yeti deals with a fair amount of background noise. Alright. Now for my next contestant, I'm going to use the built-in mic on my MacBook Pro. Most laptops have an actual built-in mic these days. So let me just switch the audio sound. I'll put these guys back on. Let me hear. Okay. And I just went down to the audio off the actual mic there. Okay. Here's the background sound. Okay, so you can kind of hear how that sounds. I'd be surprised if you cannot hear the rather loud laptop fan sound, because it is actually built into the laptop. Anyway, there's your built-in wired mic in the MacBook Pro. Ambient sound off. And for our last trick, we're going to go to the built-in mic on the camera. Okay, so this is actually the microphone on this webcam right here. So let me switch to that view. At any rate, let's do the test. And here's the sound with the ambient noise. Not so nice having that in the background. Okay, let me turn that off. And what we're going to do is, before I wrap things up, let me switch microphones. I'm going to be back on the AKG Pro 70 and finish with a few concluding points. First of all, there's a little chart that I made to kind of show some points where you're going to find mic quality. Okay, so we've got quality, say from 0 to 100 rating here. This is just my own subjective. And then we've got costs over along the bottom. Okay, so kind of lowest cost are the webcam built in. You get that microphone built into your webcam, or the one that's built into your laptop, essentially a zero cost. However, the sound quality not so great. Okay, next highest cost is our AKG Pro 70. Sounds pretty good actually. I would say comparable to what we got out of the Blue Yeti or even the Sennheisers. The AKG wireless, even though it's in the $250 price point, with all that static, just not great. Blue Yeti's in around 150 bucks, nice quality. I don't care for the way they look on video. And then the Sennheisers, of course, if you have that money. The great thing about wireless is it gives you a lot more freedom. I have to make sure that I don't get up from this table excuse me, during a webcast, because I can end up dragging off some of my equipment with this wire. That's the reason why I use the wireless mics with my pro clients, because I want them to have the freedom, and I really don't want our equipment getting dragged over with a mistake. So, in conclusion, With wired mice, you get more bang for your buck. It's just easier to build a nice quality wired mic than a nice quality wireless mic. The acceptable entry level on wireless, in my opinion, is pretty expensive. I've tried $100, $99 when I was in the classroom. Wireless mics, they just sounded horrible. That $250 AKG, not really that great either. So the acceptable entry level is pretty high. The Sennheiser's over $600, and it starts to sound pretty good. If possible, try out a mic before you buy it. It's better for you to know what you're buying than get it without, to get it and not be happy. And of course, test it before you use it in the field. If you can, really the best thing to do is to try it a few times before you start to actually try to use it in a live situation. Now, if this has been helpful for you, rosamediaproductions.com is where you can get more of this kind of content. Please go over there and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And if you know someone that this would be helpful for, forward them a link to this show. And with that, I'm pretty much done for the day. So this is Cliff Rosa with Rosa Media Productions Webcast, and just want you to be able to grow your online presence with video. Thank you for investing your time with Rosa Media Productions e-learning. I'm Cliff Rosa, encouraging and empowering you to make your impact on the world with media.